Hot topic here on Morning Kickaround for Friday morning. Midweek, we were treated to one of the best midweeks of soccer action I can recall. Open Cup second round brought the heat, brought plenty of excitement, and to discuss his top moments of the second round, we got Mr. Elliot Barr going by Yogi this morning, co-host from River City 93 podcast, reoccurring guest now. Welcome, Elliot, or should I say Yogi?
Yogi's fine. Elliot's for
You know
tax
what?
purposes.
All right, that's okay. Government names and all that. Yogi, you're
Yeah.
I think you're your first our first return guest. Is that right, Robert? Is he the
Really?
first one to do two appearances on the show?
I think so. I think
Oh,
so.
look at Black excellence coming through.
I
Look
mean,
at
I think that's lovely, and I think it's great that we're going to be talking about Open Cup here because that second round. I mean, I got your top five. So I asked Yogi to give me his top five. I'm going to throw it up on the screen here. This is
Yeah.
his top five moments from the U.S. Open Cup second round, and we can work through these. I got visual aids for all of this, Yogi, but you tell me, why don't we start with number one?
All right, so let's start with number one. I think number one would brought the collective soccer heart together. Yeah, El Felito upsetting Monterey Bay. Now, if you remember last year, El Felito, they went on this amazing run through the U.S. Open Cup. This year they came back around, and it looked kind of dicey there for a second. Now, if you fast forward to really the 80th minute mark, El Felito had four chances. It is probably the most FIFA goal ever you're gonna see. Four chances inside the box, deflection, bounces out, deflection, bounces out, deflection, bounces out, deflection, and then they finally score the winner to go advance in the next round against Monterey Bay. So that was something. I
Now I don't have Yogi. Don't I? I do not have the highlights from that one. I do have some other videos that we're going to look at here
oh
because
yeah,
again, visual aids help on this show. But what I do got is pictures of burritos
that's
because
perfect. That's
I
perfect. You can't go
mean
wrong with a good burrito.
I grabbed
Yeah,
these
don't
straight
tempt
off of
me here.
the.
I'll leave the show and go get a burrito. Don't
I
tempt
mean,
me.
so this is what I'm. This is about. Okay, what I'm about to tell you, gentlemen. So these are pictures from El Farolito's website. The obviously, or maybe it's their Yelp page for this little restaurant. Counter plays in San Francisco, makes these mission style burritos that San Francisco is famous for. Your boy's headed out there in about 3 weeks. I'm going to San Francisco, going to Napa Valley, and I gotta get my beautiful wife to allow me a little side trip to go grab a burrito at El Farolito so I can take a picture also and be like, look at where I'm at. I'm at the joint that backs the team that's making this run. And they get paid too, right, Yogi? Doesn't
Yeah,
isn't there's a number attached to what they've done.
I think so. I think there is a number. I forgot the exact number, but
I think
pretty
it's
much
50K. I think it's
50K.
50K
Okay,
they get.
yeah. So they're the last team from the I think
The
amateur
open
round of
division.
teams,
Yeah.
open division.
Yeah.
Okay, to make it through. So yeah, 50K. I mean that's a. I mean, look, 50K for even my Richmond Kickers is a lot. So imagine that going to an amateur club. Like, you split that up amongst the players or however they do it. That's a lot. That's a big chunk of money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like we want to celebrate these teams. I'm trying to get back to Yogi's top five, so give me a second. But we want to celebrate these teams that have done, they buck the odds, right? I mean this is an amateur team. They're not supposed to be beating a professional side like Monterey Bay.
Yeah,
So
no.
that's number one. What's number two?
So
This was
number
a good one.
two, oh, this is a good one. This is always my number one just because of the pure pettiness of it. So me and my co-host on Walking 90, we did a live show of the Chattanooga Derby along with Alex Ashton, who does Leave One Updater, and we did a live watch along of the Chattanooga Derby. It was a great game, but near the end of the game, we noticed there was a kid. I'm assuming it's a kid and his dad. If it's not, that's weird. But both of them ran onto the field. No one stopped them, and they planted a Chattanooga Red Wolves flag in the middle of the field. If
Okay,
you,
so I'm gonna show and tell here. So Yogi's painting a picture, but I actually think, and Yogi, you can tell me what the order of events is here. I'm gonna play this first video, and you tell me if this is not what happened first.
so that happened afterwards. That's the second event.
This is
Actually,
the second event.
that's the second event.
Okay, I thought this was the first event. I could have
No,
sworn that.
that was second. So the first one
Wow.
was it was a guy and a little kid. They ran onto the field. No one stopped them because while that's going on in the background, you see the guy with his shirt off right here,
Yeah.
number six
Yeah.
or what it might be 16. when the last PK went in, they sprinted to the bench. That was the first event.
This is first. I could have sworn this must have been second because there's no players around and
No,
the kid is just unchallenged.
no,
Oh, they're
because
there. They're the players.
all the players are on the other side because they're almost getting in a fight with the section 109, that supporters group, because they took off the jersey, waving the jersey in front of the players. It was pure pettiness. This is what we all wanted in American soccer. But just pure, it's generational hatred. It's pure hatred. It was amazing because you never thought you would see scenes like this. And it's probably once in a lifetime thing.
That whole broadcast and that whole game in general was just a joy to watch, to be honest. There was palpable, you could chew into the energy and atmosphere just through watching in YouTube. It looked like a great place. I felt like I was totally missing out. And there was quite a few moments just hearing the crowd kind of react to the events of the game. And one thing that kind of gave me goosebumps was the kind of the kind of the roar or the cheer of appreciation for what was going on when the players, after there was regulation, extra time, and then when the players came out to the center of the field for the penalty shootout to end the game, everyone in the crowd just acknowledged what they were seeing and gave an ovation to the event itself. It was a very special night. And then on top of that, flag planting on a turf field, I mean, that's some American
So
uniqueness.
Ohio State, Michigan levels kind of hatred, and I love it.
All right, so and I will mention, I think it was 12-5 in the building, which is a huge number.
In a 10,000 seat. And I mean, this is the other thing too. We can talk about the history between these two clubs. You can say that for a different show. I just think it's great that we have two clubs in the same city, 15 minutes apart, and there was 2,000 Chattanooga Rebels fans there, and they were loud and boisterous. And I think that's something we're really missing here in American soccer, where sometimes your best rival or your greatest rival is a day and a half trip away. These teams are close to each other, and that's amazing,
absolutely.
These guys are neighbors.
We did a little bit of the history on a different video. You can find it on the channel. I know lots of people have been talking about it. I got a newsletter that you can find on Ghost, Jason Davis Soccer Eagle, and I linked to Section 109, who did their own big, long history on this on YouTube, so go look for that as well. What's number 3, Yogi?
All right, so number 3. So Jake Keegan, we call him Cardio Keegan in USL League One. He's been around since League One started up in 2019. He's played for a bunch of teams: Greenville, Madison, back to Greenville. I think there's another club in there somewhere, but pretty much he just signed maybe a couple of weeks ago to Portland Hearts of Pine, right? And Portland are playing against Hartford Athletic. Now, it is in extra time, maybe a couple of minutes up. He scores the goal that gets them in the extra time after being down a man in the extra time up against the USL Championship team. Right. This is also not at the field where Portland is going to play their home games is at, from what I've learned as well. Now, this is a cool thing that I found out. Hartford Athletic have never won a U.S. Open Cup game against a professional opponent. I believe that is right. So for them to lose their quote unquote little brother in that area, is absurd. And this is also a Portland team who's their supporters group sent 200 people down to FC Naples, I think last Saturday, for their first official league game. So there's something special going on there in Portland. I don't know what Cardio Keegan is doing up there. He might be just a super, super, super sub, but there's some special feelings going on up there.
All right, that's great. Portland Hearts of Pine making waves with their looks as well. They're dropping some jerseys people love.
Nice kid.
And that was a formative moment for a lot of those people there. You could hear the crowd. They were just figuring out how they were going to do their support. They were, literally the ground level stages of Portland support.
Yeah, I think those things are. It's easy to joke on people when they first support a supporters group, oh, this is cringy and whatever. But I think those are the special moments, like you said. You're trying to figure out, all right, what chant works best? What chant doesn't work? How do we make a chant for a player? Things like that. I think that's all unique and cool at the same time. It's special to see what's going on up there.
All right, number 4. Lots of people might have thought coming into the round that Des Moines Menace was going to be the biggest story. It clearly did not happen that way, which I think is great for the tournament. But it was a story, Yogi.
It was. It was a story. Sasha Clashing. So this is someone put out there on Blue Sky. I think it was Jake who does 50 Plus Downer about how this Des Moines Minutes team was the 2012 MLS All Star team. So pretty much you had the 2012 MLS All Star team against the League One champions of Union Omaha, and Union Omaha showed up and showed out. Now, this is also a unique thing that we were keeping track of, is that there were so many red cards during this round of the tournament.
Yeah.
Like we'll get to one of my favorite red cards coming up in number 5. But
Yeah.
So you had a bunch of red cards. I think you had 2 in this game alone. So Sasha
do we want to see Sasha? We want to see the moment? You want me to show it?
Let's see the moment.
I don't know about how. Okay, let me know about the audio here, but let me see if I can get this up.
Bronick, it's their 3rd sub. Just their first window. They made the first 2 changes at halftime. Mark Bronick.
Oh, there's a card from the referee.
18-year-old debuted in Open
Lots
Cup last
of
year
John going on over there.
Scored the winning penalty in the shootout.
The little blue guys. Pretty
lots of words are look. Here it is. Look. Oh, there's the moment. There it is.
Oh, second yellow.
Now this is my thing. Because I always laugh at these moments. Look, what did you have to say in that moment to get a double yellow back to back?
Here's what I want to know. This game is happening in Des Moines, Iowa, right, Yogi? This game is happening. I don't think this is happening at, it's a high school stadium. I'm pretty sure, or no, Valley State or something like that. It's a low level college athletic stadium. Where does Sasha go when he gets red carded on the bench? Like, where's he headed to? Does he go sit in his car?
He's like, yeah, exactly. His car, or maybe the bleachers on the other side.
You were thinking about it. We was like, all right, does he go to his car? Or maybe he just goes to like the locker room, but then it's like, oh, the locker room might be locked. So I just have to like stand on the outside of the fence. Just imagine Sasha standing with his arm folded back.
Man, yeah. Sasha getting red carded.
Yeah. But it's also like the most rec league red card ever. Because how many times have you seen that red card happen where the player goes off and he just jawed at the ref? And it's like you had to have said something outlandish to get a yellow card, double yellow, back to back in the span of 2 minutes. Like you had to say something just totally out of pocket.
Must have been. All right, number 5. Let's move on from Sasha in Des Moines.
So number 5, this is my favorite moment of the weekend personally, because Jimmy Villalobos, who plays for AV Alta. AV Alta is a new club in USL League One. My dog just walked in because he heard Jimmy Villalobos. They are not doing so hot in the league, but they're doing great in the US Open Cup. And in the 120th minute in extra time against LAFC, he scores the winner. Now, this is the thing. Jimmy is already on a yellow card. Jimmy then scores the winner. Jimmy then proceeds to take off his shirt and lose his mind.
Now, here's the thing about this, and I do got the video too, is obviously like you call it the winner, but we know it's the winner now. When you take off your shirt, you don't know if the ref might add a couple minutes and you might be in trouble putting your team down a man. So let's again, let me make sure it's not too loud, but here it is, that moment.
It's an in-swinging ball. Master Antonio, and it's put in! Villalobos!
And the thing is, he stops. That's the funny part. Like, he purposely did this.
That's incredible. Come on, look at the emotion of this.
But look at the thing. The players are trying to hide him and trying to make sure he gets his jersey back on so the ref doesn't see it.
It's incredible.
He's got a camouflage. He's got green under green, which helps his case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's wearing the tracking, the bra, whatever we call that thing.
And this is the other thing, too. So since you said you're going out there to Cali, AV also might be a cool place to check out. I don't know California geographics, but AV Alta, their stadium, they made it quote-unquote soccer specific, so they have like their own standing supporter section out there. This is 3rd Division USL League One, by the way.
Yeah,
so it's really cool to see they took I think it was like an old baseball stadium and they repurposed it for soccer purposes, almost like what they did out there in Tampa. But they have their own.
I didn't know this. I mean, this is how quickly things are moving. A club like this is brand new. Mm-hmm. They're nowhere near where I'm going to be. They're much more like
I don't know. California's always a big blob to me.
No, I know, but this is like the farm country of California. Like this is not even like this isn't LA, this is San Francisco. This is like out there, right? This is where. And I actually watched this morning because I knew Yogi was coming. And we were going to talk about this moment. I went and watched. There's an Instagram video that Avialta put up with Jimmy's story, and he talks about coming from a very poor, very Latino area in California, in that area of California, his hometown, which I can't remember exactly which town he is from. But this is like mostly farm workers. Like this is the story of teams of players from this part of the world. They come from families of farm workers, and it's I think especially in this moment, it's cool that Jimmy Villalobos was able to do that. And yeah, look, I got no problem with taking your shirt off to celebrate. As long as you're not going to make your team suffer on the other side of it.
Yeah,
That's all.
it was his first yellow. Okay, cool, we get it. But like, I think also he was the captain, so his dad is like, all right, man. Like, if we go into the next round of the U.S. Open Cup without probably our captain,
that's bad.
Yeah,
that's bad. All right, you got a couple audible mentions. We only got like a minute or so, Yogi. Tell us about the audible mentions.
So audible mentions, we run through these real quick. Tormenta, South Georgia Tormenta down in Georgia, they avoided upset against Foro. Last minute winner there as well. I believe that game went into extra time as well.
Ignore my typos on this. Yogi's got the information. I got a line break problem there, but ignore that.
Yeah, so they end up winning that game 3-2 to avoid the upset there against Foro. Foro in the previous round beat another USL League One club in Texoma Soccer Club. And then last but not least, I know people don't really have a great fondness for MLS Next Pro teams, but the Crew 2 showed why they are probably the second best MLS Next Pro team outside of North Texas. Because they thoroughly put a beating on Lexington Soccer Club, who put a lot of money and has improved that team in the USL Championship, beating them 3-0. So that is.
Can I add a note to this as well?
Yeah.
Something that's a couple years that's already happened, but I guess maybe I knew this, but I was reminded. Apparently, in Columbus, they call this Crew 2 team the Capybaras, which I don't know why. They have a nickname. Somebody as a joke called them the capybaras. You know what that is? That's that little animal, that Brazilian thing.
Capybara.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, Yogi, thank you so much, man. Thank you for bringing us some
man.
Open Cup love. We appreciate it.
Bringing the top 5 moments. Tell the folks out there where they can find your stuff.
Oh yeah, you can follow me on River City 93 and Walking 90 and Can I Kick It FC, all on Blue Sky and on YouTube.
We also had somebody ask about, here it is, from Evan. What's your kit? You got to tell us about your kit.
Okay. So this is the women's team here in Richmond. This is year 2. The reason why I'm wearing this kit is because I am Jamaican, and we just signed Cameron Simmons, who is Jamaican international. She plays at Florida State University. She's also a Richmond native, and she signed on for the second year playing here for my hometown club, Richmond Ivy. We're going into year 2 now. And we are playing in the Brandy Chastain Cup, which is like a trial run of U.S. Soccer is trying to do a women's U.S. Open Cup. So we're in the trial run of that called the Brandy Chastain Cup. So we'll be
that's awesome.
And Cameron Simmons will be our star forward.
Very Lots of great stuff. Thank you for the moments. Thank you for sharing about the new cup. And then also thank you for being our first ever reoccurring guest to Morning Kick Around.
Yeah, look forward to it. Hope you guys have a great rest of the show.
Thank you.
All right, check out Yogi's stuff, and if you haven't done so, subscribe to Morning Kick Around.
You're not here.
I'm
Rob.
I'm a floating head, but that doesn't have to sway you from hitting the subscribe button on a Morning Kick Around. Help us continue to grow the MK Ultras and make the soccer conversation we're trying to host here the richest it could be. Support us there. You can hit the thanks button and add some funds, or you could do the same thing at ko-fi.com/morningkickaround, where there's some bonus content there for those who contribute. And there's also a podcast version of the show now. I didn't mention at the top of the show, but on your favorite audio platform, search for Morning Kick Around.